What is a TV show that has come out in the past couple of years that you have only just discovered? And is this a bigger problem than we first thought when it comes to television these days? Can we even become fans of TV shows anymore? Let's get into it. So, recently I have discovered a absolute gem of a show that I think you should all watch and is more relevant today than a year ago, especially during the political climate that we're all going through right now, not only in the UK but also in the US as well and across the world. It is an amazing show that sort of hit my radar sort of early last year when Ewan McGregor was doing interviews and press for it. He had a big moustache, and that was like a big talking point throughout the interview. Later on, the show came out, passed me by, concentrating on other stuff until recently when I just discovered it again. A show called A Gentleman in Moscow. It is an absolute gem of a show, and I highly recommend that you go and watch this show. It's really, really, really great. Like I said, starring Ewan McGregor as the main character. So the show centers on a character called Alexender Rostov, is played by Ewan McGregor. Alexander Rostov writes a poem. The effect of releasing this poem incites a revolution, which was not his intention whatsoever. In 1917, in Russia, the aristocracy crumbles and is taken over by a new government. The government want to destroy everything that came before it and completely dismantles the aristocracy. So people like counts, barons, princesses, kings, queens, all that sort of stuff gone in a blink of an eye. The new revolution are rounding people up, putting them in prison, killing them. When it comes to Alexander Rostov's character, what they can't figure out what they want to do with him, as he was the person who unintentionally began the revolution with his poem. So because of this, he is granted what you would consider, I guess, sort of special treatment. Now, he is put on house arrest for life. Alexander Rostov is sentenced to house arrest for life. He is not allowed to leave the hotel, a hotel called the Hotel Matripol, and if he steps out of the doors outside, he is going to be shot. He lives his life in this hotel and discovers all the ins and outs of the place and discovers new areas and new places and explores the world over time. It is not all glamorous and plain sailing as you might think it would be staying at a luxury hotel called the Matripol in Russia. No, he is under the watchful eye of Osip Glenikov, who is kind of like the government entity sort of liaison between him, the outside world, and the government, and he is his gatekeeper. And when he first arrives at the hotel, Osip Glenikov, that's a hard one to pronounce, he is basically charged of looking after him throughout his stay. He is in his original suite. Basically, he says, no, this is not the room you are going to be staying in whilst you are here. No, you are going to be devoid of any sort of luxury. That's basically it. And so he takes him up to his room, which is like the maid's quarters, very basic. And that's where he spends most of his days, as well as the other areas in the hotel. Whilst he is at the hotel, he befriends a little girl called Nina, played by Alexender Rostov, and through her develops a relationship and they become good friends. He is somebody who is very much sticking to his morals, sticking to his beliefs and his people and his way of life, despite everything around him crumbling. He sort of passes on the knowledge of his world to this little girl, and he teaches her etiquette, how to be a princess and all that sort of stuff, and passing on his knowledge so that his way of life, his people are carried forward. She grows up over time. There's big time jumps throughout the show. she sort of becomes his connection to the outside world, and you could see how the outside world is affecting her through her eyes. Whilst he's at the hotel, he also comes across his best friend, Mishka, who he's at odds with to start with, as they have had a rather tumultuous relationship and history, but they soon repair that and become friends once again once he finds out that he is under house arrest, his only link to his old life. Mishka is played by Fenty Balgun, is his friend and his confidant and his emotional sort of sounding board, as it were. Also, he develops a relationship with a woman called Anna Abanov, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and she is an actress and is trying to make it in Russian cinema. And her career throughout the show goes up and down, and they develop a relationship and find comfort in each other's misery and sort of try and make the best of a bad situation that they are both currently in, and sort of provide comfort to each other. So that's the basic idea for the show. It's got many different facets to it, and you know, I've only watched a few episodes at the minute, and it is a thoroughly good watch. It's an easy watch as well. Not to say that it's bad or anything like that, or bad writing. It's quite, in fact, the opposite. The writing is excellent, and you can see that the actors are really sort of like having fun with it. The writing is so good, I actually thought it might have been a true story. And after having done some research, I found out no, it's all completely fictional. But that's how good that writing is. Ewan McGregor looks like he's having fun with it, and he knows like exactly what he's doing. The actor who plays his brother or his friend, Mishka, I think is standout performance in this whole thing. Like I said, his emotional sounding board, his friend, his confidant. Um, yeah, he is a very talented actor, and I'd like to see him in more things. I also like the fact that it's all confined to one location, and it's just in the hotel. And over time, he discovers different aspects of the hotel and becomes friends with the staff, almost to the point where he starts working for the hotel himself, as he's got to know it and he knows it like the back of his hand. And so he ends up working there. So, like I said, I haven't watched all of it, but like I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And I wish I had discovered this sooner. And the problem is nowadays with television and all the streaming services that we've got, these types of shows that are very good, well written, just don't get the attention, unfortunately, because you know it's that good. It can be a bit of a tough watch as well, and it's not like White Lotus or it's not like The Last of Us, which are just sort of thrown all the money at it. Not particularly great shows, and it's like, oh, come on, um, give these other little shows a chance. So definitely enjoyed this show. Highly recommend it. Ewan McGregor's performance, as always, is great. I can watch him read the phone book. I also like how each character he comes into contact with gives him a little sort of glimpse into sort of like the outside world, because you never actually see him go out of the hotel, at least not at this point in the show. You see him sort of go up onto the roof to breathe fresh air for the first time, and it's a great moment as well because he's like, ah, freedom, a little bit of freedom, and instantly makes his world better. The relationships he curates and the friends that he makes whilst he's there is really sort of well done. Costumes are absolutely outstanding. The set design is really great, and it's not really sort of, they don't really throw too much in the way of like political jargon or any sort of like political stuff. That's all sort of like in the background. that what they focus on, which I think is an absolute genius idea, is that they only mainly sort of focus on the story through Alexander's eyes and his survival. And I liked how, to start with, he carries himself still as an aristocrat, and the way he wears his moustache to the way he wears his hair, and how he upholds his values and beliefs. And he's in a dire situation and he could just like roll with the times and you know follow the crowd, but no, he sticks to his convictions. And it's tiny little hints here and there over time, tiny little changes that you notice. And so yeah, I mean, this is really clear example of how TV is running at the minute. With it's very difficult to become a fan of something because there is so much out there. Whereas in the past, shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Stargate SG-1, Star Trek, Friends, The Simpsons, there was only like a handful of shows that came out, and you could become huge fans of those shows because that was all there was. And the problem now is you have to sort of rifle through so much junk and rubbish and crap to finally get to like an absolute gem of a show such as this. And so I hope this will change, and I hope that these shows get the dues that they deserve. The Last of Us was an absolute disaster. It was, to start with, hailed an absolute success to start with, and season 2, apparently, from what I hear, is an absolute disaster. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are when it comes to the TV industry and how it's going, and what the future holds for the industry as a whole. And so, will we see more sort of popcorny type rubbish, or will we see more story-driven type shows, which is what I'm in favour of? Yes, the popcorn stuff is all right, but it has to be done right. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments and in chat when it comes to the TV industry. And yeah, I hope you definitely check out this show, A Gentleman in Moscow. It is thoroughly worth your time. Like I said, easy watch, can't go wrong. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more videos with regards to like TV shows and TV recommendations, let me know. But do bear in mind, it does take a while to go through these shows and watch them, as they're like between 8 and 12 episodes long, depending on the show. And yeah, remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and I shall see you in the next video.